Hey guys, what's up? George here, aka T-WreckSs, bringing you another Raid Shadow Legends video. And this video I am actually making while I am live streaming over on Twitch. I have been live streaming almost every day, 1 or 2 times a day. And if you haven't checked that out, make sure you head over to twitch.tv/T-WreckSs. It'll be linked in the description, and hit the follow button there so that you know when I go live. It's normally 11 AM UK time or 6 PM UK time. If you can work that out in your local times, go ahead and do that. I think the first one, East Coast US, is about 6 o'clock in the morning, and the second one is around about 1 PM East Coast. I'm not sure what that is on the West Coast. I have not been back in America for a little while. So I'm actually making this while I'm live streaming, so I have a chat going at the same time. I did just start this video and I had to start again because I had copyrighted music playing. But today I'm bringing you a Skullcrusher guide. This applies to anybody who has Skullcrusher, but it will help out earlier players much more because I'm going to go into in-depth with some of his stuff. Skullcrusher is amazing. He might look visually as not one of the greatest champs, but he's actually one of the best champs in the game. And there's a few reasons for this. Firstly, there are 3 counterattack champions in the game. He is the only epic counterattack champion. The other 2, Marta and Valkyrie, are both legendary, so they are much harder to get. So let's talk about Skullcrusher and where you might use him. You can use him anywhere, but most people will use him in the clan boss because he has that counterattack. Let's jump into his skills, and we're going to go to his main usefulness first. And we're going to go to Stonewall, which is his A2. You can see here it requires 1 book to get the cooldown, and his A1 requires 4, but you don't really want them to go there. So if you put a book into Skullcrusher and it goes to his A2 first time, that is perfect. Don't worry about putting any more books in. You got really lucky. What does his A2 do? Well, it places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. So what that means is he puts a protection on them, and every time they take damage, 50% of that damage is going to go to Skullcrusher instead of them, so they will stay alive longer. It's one of the best buffs in the game, and actually sometimes having it on 2 champs is even better. He also places a counterattack buff on all allies except him for 2 turns, so that's the same amount of time as the ally protection, and places an unkillable buff on himself for 1 turn. Now this, he needs to be ascended. If you don't ascend him to at least 3 stars, this counterattack is only for 1 turn. And that was something I didn't realise for a long time, and then when I realised that, my damage just shot up through the roof because the counterattack has 2 AoE attacks, all enemies hits. And if you have the counterattack for both of those, your whole team, apart from him, is going to come back, hit in, and put more damage. So, what does this mean? Well, this means the first AoE hit of the clan boss, his ally protection is up, and he will take 50% of the damage, but he will be unkillable. So even if it took out all his health, he can't die. The second attack of the clan boss, if you've got your speeds tuned right, the ally protection is still up, but that unkillable has fallen off, and that's where there starts to be some risk with your Skullcrusher, but we'll come into how to mitigate that a little bit later. So his A1 is Smash, attacks 1 enemy, places a 50% heal reduction debuff if the target's defense is lower than this champion's. This can be really helpful in the Fire Knight, which is another place that people use this guy a lot. But you actually don't want this placing on the clan boss. If you haven't seen my early game clan boss video, it will be linked in the corner right now. But to cut into it, there's 10 debuff slots on the clan boss, and if you fill one of those with a heal reduction, that's a slot you don't have for poison, decreased attack, or decreased defense, essentially. So you want him low accuracy so he doesn't lay that. He also has a passive, Unshakable, decreases the duration of all debuffs on this champion by 1 turn at the start of each turn, so if he gets stunned, he shakes off that stun. It doesn't, however, mean that if his counter attack was on cooldown, that cooldown still happens. It actually will take you back 1. He also has an aura, increases ally resist in faction crypts. You're probably not going to use that, honestly. Right, so he's really cool. What you're going to do with him? For clan boss, you're going to want him in defense gear. You want to get him 60, and you want to get him 6-star ascended. Then what you're going to probably want for most of it is defense percentage gloves with speed. You don't want accuracy on them, really. Defense percentage chest with speed. And you will want speed boots with any substats you can get, really. So you can see I've got him in lifesteal gear here. He's in lifesteal gear because he needs to heal himself back up when he's taking that extra damage for the rest of your team. So you need him in lifesteal gear, you need him 60, and you need him ascended because in the mastery tree, you need him to come down into the bottom left-hand side right behind me here. I'll click on it so you can see it full screen. You need him to come down in War Master because when he hits a War Master proc, which is 60% of the time, he will heal himself up almost back to full and sometimes back to full. Then when we come into the defense tree, you want extra defense, and you want to come down to this one here. This is the most important in the defense tree for him. Retribution has a 50% chance to counterattack when he loses 25% of his HP or more from a single enemy skill. Now, when he gets to that point where he's taking all that extra damage, he is going to lose that amount of health, and that gives him a 50% chance to counterattack and heal himself back up with the lifesteal. So as I said, you want him in defense gloves, defense chest. That is because he's a defense-based champ. If you haven't seen my how to gear defense-based, I'm going to plug that as well. That'll be up in the corner. But you want to aim, if you're heading for Nightmare, which is what I'm at now, Nightmare Clan Boss, and I went from normal Clan Boss to Nightmare in about 2 months, just fixing my champs, you probably want about 3,500 defense. You want him to be 171 or more. Now mine is 176, but that is fine because all my other Clan Boss champs are faster than him, up to 181. Really, you want more crit rate and you want more crit damage, but you want less accuracy, and that is basically how you're going to use Skullcrusher. I have just enough energy to show you a quick finite run. I don't have a key for the Clan Boss right now, but what I will show you quickly is I use him in my team. My team is here. So for the Clan Boss, if you haven't watched the video, you have decreased attack, decreased defense. There's my counter attack. I have someone who keeps him alive, removes the stun, and then a Court Brawler. And it helps me do a 2 key, which is enough damage for the Nightmare chest. So you have a quick, I will quickly just show you Fire Knights. I use him in my Fire Knights team. I'm not going to run it because it's still quite a long run, but I have him in there because when you get to the Fire Knight, you've got to take down the shield, and the counter attack on these guys with multi-hits lets them hit the shield down, and then their main attack goes in and kills the Fire Knight. Final plug of this video, I have a Fire Knight video right up there. That is early game Fire Knight for you. This has been a quick champion spotlight on Skullcrusher. If you're lucky enough to pull him, congratulations, you're really, really lucky. I was lucky enough to pull a second one, who I am currently building. He is right here in my vault. I'm building him up, and I'm going to try a double counterattack, double Skullcrusher run at some point. I hope that you liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. Head over to Twitch and hit that follow button. Check me out, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, get online and get wrecking.